Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization, and I want to tell you about how I cut my injury rate from lifting by tenfold. And I have 24 years of lifting experience, and I have learned a ton. And during that time, I discovered a few tips I want to share with you about how you can also cut your injury rate 10 times. Did I sell you yet? How's that for a promo? All right, real talk. The 10X thing is just bullshit. It's clickbait. Thanks for clicking on the video. Hopefully we use the 10X cut your injury rate by 10 times in the thumbnail. Scott the video guy, that sounds like a good thumbnail to me. We record these videos long before we make the thumbnails, by the way. So, in any case, but for real, I cut my injury rate by a lot. Insanely notable night and day. I used to get hurt really regularly in the gym. And then when I started doing these things, I started doing them not all at once, slowly but surely I figured it out. My injury rate got reduced a ton. And these didn't just work for me, they work for Jared Feather, IFB Pro, they work for tons of other people that we work with. They're just really fucking sound advice. Now, you don't have to do them, you don't have to use them, but if you want to reduce your injury risk and still get the same or even better benefits from the gym, stimulus-wise, strength-wise, give it some thought. Here we go. Number one, just straight up better technique. There's a way to lift weights that just kind of lifts them from point A to point B, like in the deadlift, you just pick it up, and it works great. But there's a way to lift with a bit more nuance where you have the kind of technique that reduces injury risk probabilistically by at least a small margin. Here it is. When I started deadlifting, I made sure I had a tight lower back. I never had a rounded lower back and was ratcheting up the reps. That took my lower back little ding and ping kind of injury rate and just plummeted it to the ground. Retracted shoulders on pressing movements, for example. You leave your shoulders flared out like that, tons of football players get tons of shoulder injuries in the gym from bench pressing because they don't know how to bench press properly. In powerlifting, shoulder injuries are actually very rare because you've retracted your scapula, your glenohumeral joints are deep back there and safe away from a ton of weird instability. And all of a sudden, when I started doing that, I just stopped getting hurt. In high school, I would bench like a normal person. And I just got hurt shoulder several times. It was just like a year and a half of lifting. And then I had a power lifter teach me how to do a proper arch and retraction. And I swear to God, I never hurt my shoulder ever again on the bench press, ever. Big deal. Highly recommend. Just pay attention to technique. Know what technique is more likely to be injurious. Make sure it's stable and reduce that injurious technique and introduce the technique that gets you hurt less. We have tons of videos on what kind of good technique does reduce injuries. So please go ahead and Google that and YouTube it, and maybe Scott the video guy will put in a link to one of those videos. Number two, controlling the eccentric. You want to hurt your knees. It's really hard to do it in the gym. The gym's a safe place, but you want to probabilistically increase the potential for you hurting your knees. Dive bomb your squats, dive bomb your lunges, go quick into the hole, rapidly descend with the bench. Those high forces in that plyometric transition, that's the highest forces you'll ever expose yourself to, and in a stretched position. It's, I don't want to say a recipe for injury, but if you really want to put a fine point on it, yeah, like that's a good way to try to get hurt. So what you do instead is you control the eccentrics. I don't mean like forever. I mean even on a cable curl, instead of going, like that, just going like that. Even a 1 second, some semblance of control, but ideally 2 to 3 seconds, is going to get you tons of eccentric damage and tons of eccentric mediated growth, which is huge, by the way, and will make you huge. But it also really does reduce the risk of injury. So that's something I started doing. My injury risk started to doing, and my injury risk went down precipitously. How's that for a big, fancy, big brain word? Number three, deloading on time. You get to a point where you're just barely matching your rep PRs. Your joints are fucking hurting all over. Your muscles are barely attached to the bone. You have one more week that you planned to train because like, fuck that, bro. We got to get after it. You should deload, but your friends are like, hey man, let's do another hard couple sessions. And you're like, yeah, fellas. Get in there. Ow, something happens. You get hurt. Deloading on time when you're supposed to, when the logic of training progression dictates it, that is when your fatigue is really high and you're barely hanging in with your performance, you're there in the gym to increase your performance. So if you're barely hanging in, what the fuck are you doing anyway? Cut it off, deload when you're supposed to. Don't try to stretch that post-deload margin. Stretching the post-deload margin, which by which I mean, once you fucking know you're supposed to deload, but you're like, a couple more sessions, let's just get it done. another week or whatever of hard training after you're supposed to have deload is similar to when you're driving through like somewhere in the country in the United States, let's say, or as the countries of Europe. Yes, excellent. And you're like at the quarter tank or whatever, sixth of a tank where the empty light comes on in your gas tank, and you keep going. Now, here's the thing. A lot of times you're good to go. Couple extra sessions after you deload, when you drop the weight on the bar a ton of eccentric controls, super light, you're probably modify the exercises from like squats to like leg presses, something less injurious. You're probably not going to get hurt. So like if you're in a major metropolitan area where there's a gas station every fucking mile, you can ride with like, that light is like for 20 or 40 miles or some shit. You're good to go. You don't have to be like, the light came on, go across 8 lanes of traffic, fucking kill someone's dog and just ram into the gas station. The gas station blows up and the fumes of the gas go down in the dead dog's body. And then the devil is clearly in that shit. And then the dog's like, and then that's how Cujo was born. But in any case, look, yeah, the fucking light comes on. Don't worry about it. So in most cases, if you deload a little late, adjusting a couple variables, you're good to go. But how about this? You're driving through fucking Arizona or Utah or Nevada, and Europe is so well developed there may be no analogy. I drove through Switzerland once and just got a lot of tickets because they have auto speeder cameras. Fucking assholes. That's like $600. Fuck. But anyway, in the mountains of Switzerland, they still have fucking gas stations. I don't know how. But if you're driving through somewhere where your fucking light comes on, and like a mile away, there's like, pull away and get gas and pee and all that stuff, get snacks. And you're like, I feel good. But you don't read the little sign, the fine print. You keep driving and it's like, next gas station, 50 miles. And you're like, oh, fuck. What happens then? A very, very predictable sequence of events for which I will now elucidate. Number 1, you're like, we're good. We can make it. Number 2, the car stops, you pull off to the side of the road. Number 3, tumbleweeds. It'd be a good scene in the movie, like wind, sun. You're like, oh, it's just nice out here. Cell service, 0 bars. Uh-oh. Do I want to walk 25 miles that way to that gas station or 25 miles this way to this gas station? Guess what happens next? Hold on, I'll stop for a second. In your head, think of what I'm going to say next, because some of you are at the same wavelength right now. We all know what it is. A little flickering light off in the distance. You're like, is that like a town? Those are people. Oh, they used to be people. Before the nuclear testing in the 1950s caused multi-generational genetic deformity that hills have eyes. And if you've never seen that movie, fucking never do, because it'll leave you with nightmares. That's what's going to happen to you. The deload equivalent of that shit is you fucking tear a pec, or your hamstring goes, or your shoulder gets out of place and it's really hurt. Don't stop in random places in Utah and talk to fucking weird, fucked up strangers unless you have a high caliber rifle or a sniper or spotter team. It'd be a great way to redo that movie. Could you guys fucking imagine like 2 kitted out MARSOC snipers? It's like run out of gas, and then the Hills Have Eyes people come out and they just like, oh my God, that movie would be 5 minutes long. I pay hundreds of dollars to watch that shit. If you want to make it, I'll watch it. In any case, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You're not a MARSOC sniper, so fucking deload on time. I used to push it harder and I would get fucking hurt. I'd be like, God damn it, why am I doing this to myself? And then I stopped doing that shit and it feels fucking lame. Like you don't feel like a fucking iron brother or warrior or whatever. You have to cut your deload off on time. It's worth it, I promise, because then you're fresh, you're not hurt, and the next mesocycle goes better and better and better. And you walk in and you see people at the gym that used to be more jacked than you, and they're like, yeah, man, fucking pec tendon, I'm nursing a fucking bicep thing, and they're just not getting any better. But you're fucking getting better because you're a pussy and you deload on time. By the way, you guys notice I didn't raise his hand because I just did a whole lot of jujitsu, and it fucking hurts to raise my arm. I'm a fucking moron. Number 4. Smaller load progression session to session. Your body is capable of a certain rate of gain. And that rate of gain, all things adjusted, is measured in 1 to 3 pounds per week. Maybe at some early phases of your life. Imagine if you consistently gained 1 pound of maximum lift strength every week for the whole year. When was the last time you put 52 pounds on your fucking bench press or squat or deadlift in a year. If you're watching this video and you've been training for a year, 1, 2, 3, or 4, yeah, sure, last year. But past that that's unbelievable gains. So if you know that you only get 1 pound, half a pound, a third of a pound stronger every week under the hood, all fitness and fatigue dynamics sort of peer through that shit to the real underlying fitness that you have, why in God's fucking name would you add a 25-pound plate on each side of the leg press every fucking week? People do this shit, bro. They go into the gym. I used to do this. 4 plates for 15 feels good. Guess what I'm doing next session? 4 plates and fucking 25s on each side. Now, fuck that. That's pussy shit. 5 plates, bro. Why? The real way to get gains safely is to do 4 plates 1 week. And guess what? You slap 5s or even fucking 2.5s on each side right after that. What? But I'm a real grown man. I can't have people seeing me leg pressing with extra little bitty change on there. My friends will make fun of me, but they'll make fun of you with injured and smaller legs than you. I still get made fun of, jokingly, of course, by guys in the gym for putting 2.5s on the fucking shit. Except I'm like, hey, you want to get into this hack squat with me? And they're like, I don't want to go that low with 6 plates. Fuck you. But the way I got to hack squatting 6 plates for sets of 10 is precisely by those small increments. I used to try to make big jumps. I fucking stopped doing it. I got better. Because remember, making small jumps is not something where you're like, yeah, man, you fucking won't get the gains unless you make big jumps. You gotta be Braveheart in this shit, man. I'm not afraid of these fucking weights, bro. I put 10 more pounds on the bar. Like, really? Just bravery alone gets you fucking jacked? Color me fucking dumb. I want to try it. I got all kinds of bravery. What I don't have is an intelligent approach to sports science that keeps me both lower in injury risk and simultaneously way more than enough weekly overload to keep my muscles challenged. And if the 5 pounds or 10 pounds isn't enough, do a couple more reps. God damn it. That shit's not going to get you hurt, but the extra weight will. So don't make crazy big jumps. Try to make your jumps smaller and get a smoother progression to your training. Because if you can get a smoother progression for 1, 2, 3, 4 mesocycles in a row, you're going to be really fucking big and jacked. And someone who is much weaker is going to be like, hey man, like, what does it take to be fucking big and jacked? Just put more weight on the bar? Just get fucking stronger? And you're going to be like, well, no, just put a little bit more weight on the bar. Get the same reps or get 1 extra rep. Iterate that process over with sporadic deloads for years, and then you'll get jacked like me. And nobody ever wants to hear that shit because that's real shit they know deep down is the fucking truth. Number 5. On some movements, eventually, as I got bigger and stronger, pauses at the bottom in this stretched, somewhat more exposed position did absolutely enhance my injury risk and decrease it for me. So things like pull-ups. I'm not bouncing out of the bottom of a pull-up. Fuck that. I've pulled triceps like that before. Nothing too big, but scary enough to be like, fuck that. Bench presses. Like, don't Google bench press pec tears because that shit is scary as fuck. But a pause is not a guarantee you won't tear your pec, but is sure as shit a good way to start. Squats. When you get big and strong enough, pausing your squats both leaves you in that semi-torn quad position at the bottom, which is awesome for growth, and it makes you use less weight in the squat, and it eliminates those quick pulse plyometric forces at the bottom, the amortization phase, that result in a slightly increased probability of injury. So, just to review, better technique, controlled eccentrics, deload on time instead of milking it out longer, small load progression session to session, add less weight to the bar every time, pauses at the bottom of some of the movements in which you consider like, I'd rather take a pause, this feels a little risky, and the results will be amazing. I almost guarantee that your injury rate is going to go down. For me personally, I just straight up almost never get hurt in the gym. I used to get hurt in the gym like regularly before, and it's almost definitely because of these things. Because at the same time, I'm getting older. I'm fucking 38. I'm not supposed to be getting hurt less. I'm supposed to be getting hurt more. But as you age, hopefully, you become wiser and start doing more of this smart shit. People often ask me the question of like, what stuff could you have told yourself back? What do you wish you knew back when you were younger that you know now? And my real facetious but totally true answer is like, modern periodization. I wish I knew all the sports science I did. But one of the biggest things I wish I knew is that I don't need to do egotistical, stupid bullshit to make gains. I could have always been doing this shit and getting fucking gains without getting hurt nearly as much. Because getting hurt blows as many dicks as it takes to make it not a fun time. Because even if you love giving blowjobs, which your boy, I've been taken third place at the blowjob Olympics a few times. That's not something I like to brag about. It's a gift. I barely even train it. But after about 999 dicks, I don't want to see any dicks for a while. Getting hurt is like having 1,002 dicks. It's 3 fucking dicks too many. And you know, gee whiz, if you've been around dicks before, even those 3 dicks can make a big difference. I sure as shit hope you guys aren't super young or showing this to your class. I had actually one guy hit us up on the channel. He's like, hey man, I'm a high school teacher and I wanted to show one of your videos for the kids to be educational. And well, you said the things you always say. I should have known better. I'm sorry about those kids, man. I hope they grew up big and strong without any lewd thoughts. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think. Share some of your own wisdom in the comments if you can about the stuff you think you wished you knew earlier and are only now learning or only later learned. Let's get a little wisdom thing going in the comments. I'll see you in there. I'll pop in, make some dick jokes, and pop right out to go sit in a room alone and think of dick jokes. See you guys next time.